The OnePlus 3 probably has one of the biggest changes or deviations in OnePlus history. The OnePlus 2 was a refinement of the original design that brought about a lot of positive changes and a few negatives as well. The OnePlus 3 on the other hand breaks tradition and goes in a direction that one did not expect OnePlus to go in, and that is a good thing. The difference isn't that big if you look at the device from the front, but the back tells an entirely different story. As much as we love the sandstone finish on the original OnePlus and OnePlus 2, there seemed to be some sort of self-imposed restriction that held back both these devices from achieving a truly stellar design. The OnePlus 1 in my opinion had a really good build quality, and same was the case with the OnePlus 2. The design however wasn't very appealing to me at least, and while the OnePlus 2 did feel more premium in the way it looks, it too lacked refinement. Luckily, OnePlus have flipped the table this time around and gone for something that truly does look and feel like a flagship. The all-new metal unibody design looks really pleasing to the eyes, and the phone is built like a tank. It is a bit light to a touch, however that doesn't really take away from the premium feel like it does on some devices. The lightness can mostly be attributed to the use of anodized aluminum in its construction as well as the good weight distribution. The OnePlus 3 is the slimmest flagship phone till date from OnePlus at just 7.3mm at its thinnest point. The OnePlus 3 will be available in two colors, a graphite variant as well as a soft gold variant that will be launched shortly afterwards. Up front you have a 2.5D curved Corning Gorilla Glass 4 that protects the 5.5-inch display. You get the front-facing camera, earpiece as well as the ambient light and proximity sensors. Below a display you have a set of two capacitive buttons as well as the fingerprint sensor. The right side of the device features the dual nano SIM slot and the power button. Left side houses the volume rocker button as well as the new 3-stage profile key which has received an overhaul. The OnePlus 3 key is much easier to slide and has better feedback than the OnePlus 2. At the bottom you find the loudspeaker grill, USB Type-C port, microphone and the 3.5mm audio jack. At the back you have the 16MP camera module and LED flash. The OnePlus logo is also nicely embossed into a phone's body and has a glossy finish just like the rim around the camera hump. The camera hump is probably the biggest pet peeve of mine with the OnePlus design since it protrudes a bit too much. Another welcome change is the use of a soft touch matte finish that is probably on the other side of the spectrum in terms of being a fingerprint magnet compared to phones such as the Galaxy S7 series. The matte finish also provides better grip when holding. At the back you also see two antenna lines. The secondary microphone is also hidden neatly in the middle of the upper antenna line just above the camera module. The battery is non-removable and neither is the back cover. Don't think that OnePlus have forgotten its roots however and done away with the sandstone covers or customizability just yet. They still have it, it's just that they have managed to implement it in a better way in the form of covers. For those users who are looking for customizability, they can use the covers that will not just give them a unique pattern and look, but also add protection from scratches and maybe a small dropper too. There are a total of 5 covers to choose from such as sandstone, Kevlar, rosewood, bamboo and black apricot. The OnePlus 3 sticks to the 5.5-inch 1080p formula for the display and that deserves a round of applause. It is hard to keep up with the competition when it comes to technology. Not everyone has the kind of R&D teams and access to groundbreaking technology as some tech giants have. But what is harder to do is basically refrain from pursuing the giants in the numbers game and sticking to something that actually makes sense. 1080p resolution still makes perfect sense on a 5.5-inch display. The benefits you get from it definitely outweigh the cons by a large margin. You get a much better battery life, lesser load on the CPU and GPU, and as a result, a cooler operating temperature for your smartphone. 1440p would perhaps make things a tad bit more crisp and interesting, especially if you have high resolution content, be it images or video, but the difference is only minimal unless you have a screen size of 7 inches or more. The Corning Gorilla Glass 4 with 2.5D curved glass feels really good to swipe and use, and they have also included a screen protector on top for added protection. The screen for the first time in a OnePlus flagship is an AMOLED, and as a result you get deep blacks and a really good contrast ratio, which also goes to a great length in improving sunlight legibility. Sunlight legibility is further improved thanks to a built-in polarizer. The brightness of the screen isn't as good as an LCD or IPS unit, but the AMOLED screen makes up for that with its contrast levels. Color rendering too is pretty good and you can easily tweak it based on your preference. There's also a night mode that users can enable or disable and even adjust the level in order to prevent strain to their eyes. Users also have the option of enabling or disabling the ambient display, which is a feature that makes your phone screen light up when you receive a new notification. Also present is a proximity wake feature that you can use to wake up the display to take a quick glance at the time, day, date as well as the notifications just by waving your hand over the front of the phone. The front-facing camera senses the motion and activates the display. The phone also has an RGB notification light that can be customized from the settings. Now comes my favorite part of the OnePlus 3, and I'll straight away say why. The OnePlus 3 has the fastest fingerprint sensor I've ever seen on a smartphone, and that includes iOS devices as well. It is active all the time and is able to unlock your smartphone almost instantaneously when it is sleeping. The fingerprint sensor is housed into the home button at the front bottom lip. You can successfully unlock the phone with a registered fingerprint at almost any angle, and a total of 5 fingerprints can be saved. Another important thing to note about the fingerprint sensor itself is that it has a ceramic sensor instead of glass or plastic. That means that it's very difficult to get the sensor scratched even if you place it with keys, etc. And it's also probably why it is so accurate. I can definitely see a lot of companies going ahead with ceramic for their home button or fingerprint sensors in the near future. The OnePlus 3 comes with Android 6.0.1 with their own Oxygen OS on top. The OS is buttery smooth and we have not faced any hiccups so far. Since it's running on Marshmallow, a lot of the goodness from the update trickles down to the OnePlus 3 as well. However, OnePlus has made sure to bundle their own customization options to a suite in their traditional fashion. Overall, Oxygen OS has come a long way in terms of performance and usability. However, it still does not offer the same level of customization as Cyanogen, which was one of the selling points of the OnePlus One. While it may not have been the main selling point of the device as there were many to account for, it still has set a benchmark as to what users expect from Oxygen OS in the future. Call quality is quite good on the OnePlus 3. The earpiece is loud and clear even in noisy environments. The secondary noise cancelling microphone does a great job at relaying your voice clearly to the other end. The loudspeaker too performs well in terms of clarity but can be drowned out in a loud environment since the volume isn't that great. The OnePlus 3 comes with a dual nano SIM slot just like the predecessor and supports 4G LTE including Band 3 and Band 40 for India. In terms of storage, it comes with 64GB of onboard storage, which is UFS 2.0 for much faster data read and write speeds. There is no card slot, and out of 64GB of onboard storage, the user gets around 52.66GB of free storage upon boot. This time around too, OnePlus has bundled a USB Type-C port, however, it still only supports USB 2.0 and not 3.0 or 3.1. There is a major addition or re-addition to a spec sheet this time around in the form of NFC. The device also supports dual-band Wi-Fi 802.11 A, B, G, N and AC, as well as Bluetooth 4.2, GPS, GLONASS and Build-Do. The OnePlus 3 has a Snapdragon 820 processor, Adreno 530 GPU and 6GB of LPDDR4 RAM for seamless multitasking. A total of 5.6GB of RAM is available to a user out of 6GB. The performance of the device is, as you would expect, top-notch. The processor is really powerful and you'd no longer have any of the heating issues that plague devices running on the Snapdragon 810 processor. In fact, the OnePlus 3 is surprisingly great at handling the heat even when gaming, as can be seen in our gaming review video. The OnePlus 3 is equipped with a 16MP Sony IMX298 sensor that has a pixel size of 1.12 microns and a sensor size of 1 by 2.8 inches. So it's not the biggest of sensors, nor does it have the largest pixel size in the market. But the OnePlus 3 does have a good image quality in terms of detailing, color rendering, etc. OnePlus have also thrown laser autofocus out the window, and I'm glad that they did that. Up until now, almost every implementation of laser autofocus on smartphones I've seen has been half-baked. This time around, the autofocus speeds are much better thanks to face detection autofocus, and the f2.0 lens is decent and provides a shallow depth of field, especially when taking close-up shots. However, the Achilles heel of the smartphone is probably the auto mode in the camera. The auto mode has a tendency to bump up the ISO to unwantedly high levels and as a result captures too much noise. You'd be better off using the manual mode for those of you who know what you're doing in order to keep the noise in check. The HDR mode works quite well at improving the already good dynamic range for more punchier looking images. In some situations, however, you would be better off using the HD mode, which essentially boosts the sharpness, clarity and detailing. The rear camera can record videos at a maximum resolution of 4K and the output is limited to 10 minutes. The camera has both OIS and EIS. The focus drags pretty fast even when recording video, and the phone does a good job at automatically finding a point to focus on, or you can do it manually as well. 4K videos max out at 30fps while slow motion videos can be recorded only in 720p resolution at 120fps. Time-lapse videos can also be shot either at 1080p resolution or 720p. The front camera has a resolution of 8MP and is a Sony IMX179 sensor. It has a pixel size of 1.4 microns and an aperture of f2.0, just like the main camera. Image quality is pretty good, especially for social media purposes, and it also fares quite well in low light thanks to a larger pixel size. The front-facing camera can take 1080p videos, and users can also take selfies by just smiling. The OnePlus 3 with its 3000 mAh battery is not an endurance champion, and most heavy users won't be able to see it through the day on a single charge. The 1080p display and DOS feature on Marshmallow certainly plays an important role in reducing the battery consumption. OnePlus 3 supports a feature called Dash Charge, which is their version of fast charging that supports 4A charging at 5 volts. Since the output is restricted at 5 volts, the amount of charge entering the phone at any given point of time is pretty constant, and that ensures a more effective and efficient delivery of power. OnePlus claims that the OnePlus 3 coupled with the Dash Charge certified charger and cable can charge the device from 0 to 60 in just 30 minutes. That is true more or less, and the Dash Charge certified chargers are also quite intelligent in handling the power management since it relies on the chargers to perform that instead of the phone itself. This means that regardless of whether you have the phone kept in idle or whether it's being used to play a graphic intensive game, it'll get charged at the same speed and will remain relatively cool compared to its competitors. OnePlus is a brand that had a clear-cut motto and an attitude that set them apart. Their OnePlus One smartphone was about not needing to compromise on anything. However, after the initial success, they sort of lost their way with the OnePlus 2, and many had written them off to being a one-hit wonder. However, they are now back with the OnePlus 3, and they seem to have gotten their old charm back. This seems like a smartphone that you really don't have to compromise much on. Sure, there are a few flaws, but nothing major enough to be considered deal breakers, and in fact, the original OnePlus One wasn't without flaws either. Also important to note is the fact that no smartphone can and should be considered perfect in the pursuit of technology, as that would mean that we are settling for what we have and doesn't go with their slogan, never settle. The OnePlus 3 is without a doubt a flagship device and one that's really affordable too. Sure, it is more expensive than any of its predecessors, however, it is also better than any of its predecessors and in fact better than most of its competitors. The smartphone is priced at $399, Euro 399 and Rs 27,999, and I would definitely recommend this phone to anyone who is looking for a no-compromise smartphone at an affordable price tag. Oh, and by the way, this time around, you don't need to wait for an invite. The OnePlus 3 will be available for purchase without invite from the launch date itself. Listed here are the pros and cons of the device. If you like this video, do hit the like button and do subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.